This guy isn't going to go as a top 5 QB pick in the draft coming up later this month, but his skill set definitely puts him squarely in the conversation with the other 5 quarterbacks. I'm talking about Bo Nix, University of Oregon's QB, and I'll be breaking him down today. This is my take. Bo Nix, 6'2", 215 pounds. He's a fifth-year senior for the University of Oregon. He started 4 bowl games in his career, which is a pretty phenomenal stat. He's played at 2 Division I high-level programs, University of Auburn and the University of Oregon. He's battle-tested. He's played in a lot of big games, a lot of big stadiums, in front of a lot of big crowds. Nix is projected to go anywhere from the middle first round, the end of the first round, early second round, all the way down to middle second round. Nix is going to be a good NFL quarterback. He does a lot of things really, really well. There are some things in his game, though, that I think are flawed. However, these are things that can be coached out of him at the next level. So let's talk about Bo Nix, and these are the things I like about him. Anticipation on throws. Now, this is one of his strong suits. However, he's not 100% on this because of the situation and the issues that he has with his feet. And much like J.J. McCarthy, his feet get him in trouble sometimes when it comes to getting the ball out of his hand, anticipating throws, and throwing the ball when it should be thrown. But for the most part, his anticipation on throws is really good. He does a phenomenal job on throwing outside verticals. And I'm a huge believer in the fact that you take your drop, you hit that last step, and that ball is out. If your receiver's even, he's leaving. It's not a 60-yard throw downfield. And Nix does a great job on outside verticals, hitting that last step and getting the ball out. He also does a really good job anticipating comebacks. You know, Oregon runs a lot of comebacks where the receiver's selling the vertical route and then sinking down and coming back downhill to the sideline. And the key to that for your quarterback is to get that thing out of your hand as that receiver is just starting to come out of that sink to come back down to the sideline. And he does a really good job on this. The times that he doesn't anticipate the throws, in other words, the ball comes out late, it's not anticipation, it's poor feet with his platform. And we'll talk about that more later as we go. On film here, this play in particular, where you've got a high-low stretch on this slot defender, and you've got the receiver running the I call it a second level sit. It's not a seam vertical and it's not a curl route, but he's just beating that slot defender and kind of settling in the grass. And then you've got that short route in front of that slot defender, and Nix is keying that slot defender. That guy gets depth. He throws it underneath. He comes up and hugs the underneath route. He throws it to the second level sit. The key on the second level sit throw, though, is getting that thing released with anticipation so that the safety can't come downhill and make a play on the ball or blow the receiver up. And if you watch him on this play here, that ball is out of his hand just as that receiver's clearing that slot defender, and it's perfect. The defense can't stop it. Another great example of anticipation is this hitch route I'm going to show you. Now, it doesn't matter what the coverage is by the defense in the secondary. If you throw that hitch route on time, it's an unstoppable route. Look at how the timing is on this throw, and when Nix releases it in comparison to where the receiver is at the end of his hitch route, there's nothing that the cornerback can do. This is playing pitch and catch, and the key to this throw, like every throw for a quarterback is getting it in the hands of your receiver where he can catch and run, which is a hell of a lot better situation than catch, get tackled, and even a better situation than blow up shot, ball gets there at the same time the DB does, and it's incomplete. So while he's not 100% with the anticipation things, and I think, again, it's his feet that gets him in trouble on the ones where he does throw it late, I give him high marks for doing something that you don't see every quarterback in college football doing, and that's anticipating throws. He puts air under his outside verticals. That is huge. The reason why, if you throw that thing flatter, you have to be perfect with your throw. So in other words, if you overthrow your receiver, and most of the time when quarterbacks miss on outside verticals, they're overthrowing their receiver. Well, if you put a flat throw on that, I call it a 2. Putting a lot of air under it, I call that a 3. If you throw an outside vertical with a 2 and you overthrow your receiver, it's game over. He can't catch up to it. It's incomplete pass. If you put air underneath the ball and you overthrow him, he can use his speed to go get it. If you underthrow him, he can slip the cornerback and go up and high point it. Point being, Bo Nix does a great job of getting the ball out on those routes and putting air underneath it and dropping it in the bucket. Okay, I like his ball carriage when he's moving around in the pocket. And although Nix doesn't do a lot of this, and what I mean by that is he's usually throwing in rhythm, or if his first read isn't there, he's getting out of the pocket, which I'm going to talk about on things I don't like about his game. But when he is forced to move, he climbs up in the pocket, or he has to take a couple of dynamic steps to the right or to the left. He keeps his eyes downfield, but that ball is up here. Okay, you'll see some quarterbacks that will drop that ball down towards their waist as they're trying to figure out what they're going to do and who they're going to try to juke and all that kind of stuff. Well, he keeps that ball up. And the reason why that's such a positive is getting the ball out of his hand on time when it comes time to throw. So obviously, when you've got it here, you can push it up and back and come through, as opposed to having the ball down at your waist and having to come all the way back up to get that thing out. So he's got good mechanics as far as ball carriage goes. Okay, Bo Nix is athletic. He's a good athlete. And so this does two things for him. The first thing is when he does pull the ball down and run, he can really hurt a defense. I mean, he's got good speed. He can make plays happen with his legs. And then the other thing is when he bails out of the pocket, he throws really well on the run. And that has, a lot to do with his athletic ability, getting out of the pocket and attacking that perimeter. And then he's got good mechanics throwing the ball on the move. Okay, leadership. Now, I've said this about other quarterbacks. When you listen to what teammates say about their starting quarterback, that tells you all you need to know about his leadership skills. And Oregon's players and the coaching staff always are saying great things about Bo Nix's work ethic, his effort, on the practice field, in the weight room, and his leadership skills. And he plays with a lot of confidence. He plays with a lot of swagger. And it's pretty evident that his teammates believe in him and the direction that he's going to take them. He's got really good leadership skills. Okay, and then this is a big one for me, and that is low maintenance. He doesn't have any of the drama, nonsense, and bullshit swirling around him. Everything that you hear about him off the field is positive. He's not getting in the headlines for doing goofy stuff off the field, and that's a big plus. And so NIX does his job, carries himself, with the right. He has the right presentation for a Division I quarterback and an NFL face of the franchise type quarterback. And that's really going to help him out at the next level. And that's one of the things that a quarterback needs to have in his overall skill set. He's low maintenance. Okay, and then the last thing that I really like about Bo Nix, and I really am adamant about this, I love the fact that he did not opt out of his bowl game this year. Okay, now 16 Division I quarterbacks opted out of their bowl games this season, and that's just ridiculous. Okay, and the reasons that are given, number one, they don't want to get injured, right? They want to protect the investment, right? So that injury thing, that's just a bunch of bullshit, because these guys have played 12 or 13 regular season games. They played all 4 quarters of all 12 or 13 games. And then they're going to throw out this injury crap to opt out of a bowl game. That's pretty weak, I think. Bo Nix played in the Fiesta Bowl this year against Liberty. Liberty was undefeated. It wasn't the Fiesta Bowl is one of the big bowl games every year with a lot of tradition, but this was no big time matchup, right? But in a game that a lot of people would say is a throwaway bowl game, Bo Nix played. And that says a lot about him, I think. When you opt out of a bowl game as a starting quarterback, who does that affect? Okay, it affects the bowl sponsors. It affects the university. It affects the fans. It affects the coaching staff. And it really affects their teammates. When your starting quarterback chooses to sit out rather than go in and play that last game with his buddies, his brothers, and his teammates, that speaks volumes. And Bo Nix didn't opt out. He went out there and competed his ass off in that bowl game and helped Oregon spank Liberty. And I gave him a lot of bonus points for playing in that game. I wish the 16 other guys that opted out would have made a different decision. Okay, those are the skills. Those are the things that I really like about Bo Nix. Here are my concerns, and these are flaws that I think he has in his game. And I'm going to start with one that is really glaring to me, and that is he does not stride when he throws the ball. And it's not 100% of the time, but I would say it's probably in the 90 percentile of the time he does not stride when he throws the ball. Okay, he's in his platform. He doesn't pick that front foot up and stride it forward and drive off that back foot and transfer his weight to his front foot. He just keeps it planted in the ground and he throws it. And the problem that this causes are these. Biomechanically, when you throw a football or you throw a baseball, you are using in concert your lower body and your upper body. And it's how you use these two together that help the torque and the drive and the whip and the energy and getting the ball to where you want to get it with zip on it. And when Bo Nix doesn't take a stride step, he's cutting half of that equation out. And it hurts the amount of zip that he can put on a ball. Now, he's able to get away with that in college. Okay, he's got a good arm, but just think of how much more zip and gas he could put on throws if he actually used his lower body as well as his upper body to get that energy and torque and power into his throws. Once he gets to the NFL and the DBs are a hell of a lot faster closing on receivers and closing when the ball's in the air, if he can't get enough mustard on it, that's going to be a problem. The other problem that this causes him by not striding, and by the way, there's only one quarterback that I've ever seen that could effectively throw the ball and get zip on it without striding, and that's Aaron Rodgers. And I wouldn't advise any quarterback to try to throw it like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a physically gifted quarterback that does what he does, and he can do it. And it obviously he's got no problem doing that, which leads me to my second point about Bo Nix. Because he doesn't stride, he keeps his weight more back. And when you keep your weight back because you're not striding, that causes balls to go high. And there's two things that Bo Nix does that gives him accuracy issues. And that's a knock against him, is his accuracy. This is one of those. If you've got your weight back and you keep your weight back, a lot of times you're throwing balls high. Okay. And I can do a complete show where we're just talking about your feet and your stride and weight distribution and center of gravity and balance. In fact, I did a show about 3 months ago on constructing the quarterback where I said it starts and ends with your feet as a quarterback. It starts and ends with your feet. And what Bo Nix does with eliminating that stride step, I think causes him problems with accuracy and zip on the throw. The second thing, this is somewhat tied together, and I'm going to show you, I want you to watch this play right here where Oregon's running a deep crosser and they half roll Nix to the right. And I want you to watch where his hips are pointed when he releases the ball. Okay, his hips are facing like straight downfield, maybe a little bit to the right of that. And he's trying to throw a deep crosser to his left. And what he's doing essentially is he's throwing across his body. Now, accuracy is tied into your hips and your shoulders. And I want you guys to think about a baseball pitcher. When you watch any pitcher, major leagues, college, doesn't matter, and they take their wind up and then their stride step comes off, right? And they plant and that ball is up here right before it's released. Take a snapshot of that and tell me where their hips and shoulders are facing. They're facing right down the pike, right at the catcher, and that's right where the ball's going. Okay? The ball's going to go where your hips and shoulders are pointed. And this throw here and others that I've seen, Nix keeps his hips closed and he's throwing across his body. So his hips are pointing one way and he's trying to throw the other way. And that really affects your accuracy. And that's something, again, that can be corrected and coached out. And that needs to happen because he does this more than just this throw. Okay, and then the third area that's a concern for me, you don't see him a lot of times going to his second and third progression on a route, to where if the number one is taken away, instead of coming to 2 and 3, he will either force the ball to number one, which I'm going to show you right here on this play. Okay, he should have never thrown this. I want you to look at these two backside routes. You've got a high-low. You've got a dig route with an under route, a high-low. And all Bo needs to do here is see on that play side that route is taken away. It's not the world's greatest route. It's taken away. And just snap your eyes to the backside, and now you've got that nice little high-low read right there. and but he throws an incomplete pass because he forces it in there. And so he's either forcing the ball in instead of coming to a second or third read, or he just pulls it down and tries to make something happen on the perimeter. And that's what I think really separates the really, really good quarterbacks from the good quarterbacks, is the guys that can stay in the pocket and go through their read progression and just work their feet in the pocket and know that if your first guy is not there, your second guy probably is. And if he's not, that means your third guy is going to be there. And when that clock starts to run out for you, find your back and check it down. Okay, so at the end of the day, Bo Nix's total skill set, and I have 4 categories for a quarterback: physical, mental, leadership, and miscellaneous. Miscellaneous is off the field stuff. His skill set in those 4 categories are going to make him a really good NFL quarterback. Nix's strengths outweigh his weaknesses, I think, and tip the scale in his favor. You can't beat experience, and man, he's got a ton of that. You can't beat work ethic, athletic ability. He's got a good enough arm. Like I said, the things that may be weaknesses in his game, those are all correctable and all coachable. I think Bo Nix is going to have a long career in the NFL. Okay, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you feel like popping a comment down below, please do that. And be on the lookout for my next My Take, where I list and rank the order of the 5 quarterbacks they say are going to go in the first round for sure. I'll give you the order in which I would draft them. Okay, that's going to be the next My Take. So this is QB Unfiltered. I'm Coach Keith Simons. And remember, always throw the ball short to guys who can score. See ya.